Namaste, soul family, star family, subconscious community, and welcome YouTubers from all over the world. We are today, this is going to be the second to last video of our series on planetary reception polarity aspects of all the planets, from the sun and the moon all the way through Saturn. So I don't think we're going to touch on the outer planets in this series. It's going to be sun through Saturn. So the 7 planets with 7 days of the week, as we're concerned of in this realm here in 2019, doing our thing. So we're gonna be talking about that, and yeah, it's gonna be fun. So we got our little chart over here. You know, I've just been drawing up and all that quite poorly with some of the symbols, but you know, it's okay. I've been working on it and I'm getting better. So so let's just talk about Jupiter real quick before we dive into the video. So when it comes to Jupiter, as part of this series, we're talking about the planets and their charges and how they're, you know, which planets oppose each other with their charge. So as far as Jupiter goes, the charge of Jupiter, it opposes Mercury. So Mercury would be the left brain. It's the thinking and the communication, right? The air and the earth. Whereas Jupiter is more the fire and the water, right? It's more the right brain. And so it's dealing with wisdom, higher wisdom and knowledge, as well as spirituality, and, you know, to a large degree, creativity, and also abundance and joy, things of this nature. So yes, gotta stay focused on Jupiter. And so Jupiter is a big one right now. So we're going to talk about the signs that Jupiter rules, and then the signs that Jupiter dislikes and likes, and you know, the different overall placements and signs Jupiter's most closely associated with. So I think we touched on Jupiter enough for now. So we're going to talk about these planets definitely some more in videos, so I'm not tripping too much. I'm just trying to get you guys these polarity aspects, energies. So let's get to it right here without further ado. We're talking about Jupiter, so let's get to our chart right here. As you can see, that's Jupiter. That's what Jupiter really looks like. Woo, right there. And so, when we're talking about the signs that Jupiter rules, or where Jupiter has dignity, so basically it's the first the first yang aspect we're going to be talking about with our duality, or our polarity aspects here for Jupiter. So we're going to be talking about the 2 signs that Jupiter deals with, or that rules, and we're back to dealing with some mutable signs with fresh old Jupiter. So we're going to be talking, of course, about Gemini and Sagittarius. Not Gemini, Sagittarius and Pisces is what we're going to be talking about when it comes to Jupiter's rulership along the path of the 12 signs of the zodiac. So the first sign is Sagittarius, so naturally associated with the 9th celestial house. So that's what we're talking about here. So you know, this sign is mutable fire, being mutable and adaptable to your own and other people's ways of seeing and feeling. So it's a very wise sign. Ultimately represents the masculine side of Jupiter rulership. So it's a masculine side of Jupiter in the home, basically. So Jupiter's very expressive. And what does Jupiter represent? All of that higher knowledge, wisdom, and learning, that learned knowledge, that spirituality, and that divinity, really. Ultimately, it's divine spirituality, a divine path of knowledge. That's what Jupiter represents, and so that's going to play out in its masculine in Sagittarius, mutable fire. So there'll be flames of all colors and all sorts flying in different directions. That's what kind of how you can picture Sagittarius. It's like a wildfire burning in all directions, all different colors, all crazy. You can't control it in any way, shape, or form. And that's Jupiter's bringing abundance through the mutable flame, through that sign of the zodiac. So, so Sagittarius, the archer, so that'd be the masculine side of Jupiter rulership as far as the path of the zodiac goes. We'll talk about the feminine side of Jupiter rulership real quick to continue out our masculine polarity for this planetary reception aspect, baby. And so we're going to be talking about the feminine side of Jupiter rulership, which is Pisces. So that's mutable water associated with the 12th house, right? So we're talking about the feet, and Pisces, the chicken of the sea. And we're talking about the fish here, and it's mutable water. So it represents being mutable and adaptable to your own and other people's ways of feeling and dealing with the emotion. So we're dealing with a heavy wave signature energy here. You know, Neptune is also a co-ruler here, but Jupiter is the real ruler, traditional ruler of Pisces. Which again is mutable water. So mutable water and mutable fire, the two elements of the right brain, of the imagination, of the creation. That's basically what Jupiter's going to be ruling here: mutable fire, mutable water. So we're moving on from Sagittarius and Pisces. We're going to talk about the negative side to that polarity aspect that balances them out. And we're going to be talking about where Jupiter is in detriment. So we're back to talking about the natural planetary opposition of Jupiter, which is Mercury. So we're back to the signs that Mercury rules, is where Jupiter will be in detriment, aka working in a way that doesn't work. That's suboptimal, to say the least. So we're going to talk about here, we're going to be saying that, you know, basically these are the two signs that are the opposite of the two signs that Jupiter rules. So we're talking about Gemini and we're talking about Virgo here, two signs ruled by Mercury. So Gemini being mutable air and Virgo being mutable earth. So the earth being the feminine side or the negative side of the left brain, and the air being the positive side or the masculine side of the left brain. And so here we've got both of them, because Jupiter doesn't like either of them. Jupiter's not hanging out with the right brain. With the left brain. With Jupiter's a right brain cat. So Gemini and Virgo, the third house and the sixth house, celestial wise at least, along the path of the zodiac, that's where Jupiter is in detriment. So it's a very negative placement for Jupiter. It can play out in all sorts of negative ways. Really just uncomfortable is what it is. It's debilitated. Jupiter's debilitated, not working in a way that is natural, and so it can turn into frustration, confusion, and ultimately, depending on your other alignments, a mixture of emotions and thoughts and all those types of things. Like Jupiter and Gemini, I'm sure you got an abundance of thoughts there, even though it's in detriment, depending on the degree too, definitely. So Gemini representing mutable air, which is being mutable and adaptable to your own and other people's ways of thinking and communicating, again ruled by Mercury, the third house. Virgo being the sixth house, ruled by Mercury, representing mutable earth, which is being mutable and adaptable to your own and other people's ways of thinking and being practical. So the natural yin to the yang of Gemini, right? So they're the same aspect played out, yin and yang, left brain. So Jupiter is in detriment in both of these signs. So moving on from that, talking about the second, moving on to our second scale here, where we're going to talk about the second aspect, and which is going to be the exaltation and the fall of Jupiter. So when we talk about that real quick, and this is where we move on to another water-earth combination. So we see that Jupiter is always falling in earth and air, right? Not messing with those left brain elements. So here, once again, characteristic of Jupiter. Jupiter loves water, so we're going to talk about how Jupiter is exalted, aka in heaven, in his highest heaven, in Cancer, which is the fourth house of the zodiac. And we're talking about Jupiter's exaltation there. So, you know, Jupiter can become overexhausted there from riding the waves. Jupiter loves to serve sometimes, you know, when he's in Cancer. Definitely. And Pisces too, of course, you know. Yeah, Jupiter and Venus are always riding those waves, man. It's crazy, man. And Neptune, and you know, Neptune's more like living kind of in the underworld or whatever, in the bottom of the ocean type thing. But you know, much density. But we're talking about Jupiter here in Cancer. So Cancer representing cardinal water, which is initiating and creating new ideas or new ways of how to feel and deal with the emotion. So this is literally creating waves, right? Pushing and pulling tides. That's what Cancer controls, which is why it's ruled by the moon, right? So Cancer and the moon are damn near synonymous, right? So you're talking about the moon pushing and pulling the tides. That's all Cancerian energy, Cancer energy, baby. So we're talking about that. And the natural opposite of that, right, where Jupiter's in heaven, so we're going to go to where Jupiter falls, where Jupiter refuses to work for the most part, and where Jupiter really has the toughest time, which is the natural polar opposite sign of Cancer, falling in Capricorn, the cardinal earth sign, or the 10th house of the zodiac. So we're talking about Capricorn, that cardinal earth energy of initiating and creating new ways of how to think and be practical, you know, right? So this is a very, very, very far left brain sign here. So that's what we're talking about. And so that's where Jupiter falls and has a really tough time, because Capricorn is just so structured. So it's Saturn's feminine house and exaltation of Mars. Capricorn is so structured, so heavily reliant on a blueprint, and so practical. Really, before they act in any sort of way. That's what the energy is all about. So Jupiter just can't mess with that, because what are you going to learn? You know, what knowledge or wisdom are you going to gain from not just going out and experiencing? See, Jupiter doesn't like a lot of holdbacks or a lot of setbacks. Jupiter likes to go out and experience. That's the Sagittarius Pisces energy for you, especially Sagittarius, that masculine Jupiter, right? Going out and just experiencing things for yourself and coming up with your own philosophies, your own conclusions through your own experiences, which is ultimately a spiritual journey type of path, a spiritual path type of a journey. So, yeah, so that's you know, just kind of a little bit of poetry to kind of illustrate Jupiter in Capricorn and why Jupiter doesn't work well in Capricorn. Just doesn't work well with that energy signature. It's a very, very cold and dry climate, whereas Jupiter is more of a moist and wet type of and warm type of planet, if I'm not mistaken. So I think we've talked enough here about those two aspects, right? So Jupiter is messing with mutable signs and cardinal signs, no fixed signs in the house. So yeah, so I think that concludes our video here about Jupiter. Hopefully this helped you understand Jupiter more from an astrological point of view, or maybe concerning the zodiac. Yeah, just I hope it helped, you know, break it down for you. And we're going to be finishing up this series with one more video talking about Saturn next. So I'd love to hear your feedback. Like, comment, subscribe. And we'll see you in the next video for sure. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, everyone, Star Family, Subconscious Community, and Soul Family. And until next time, namaste.